in terms of how consistency works on a product like Archil, I imagine you think about consistency maybe in the same vein as a OLAP database would think about consistency, where it eventually becomes consistent. Do you think about Archil from the perspective of consistency guarantees, or do you feel like that type of thinking is more appropriate for databases as opposed to something like a drive?
Well, it's a surprisingly difficult question to answer. And I think that the industry at large, the people who build systems, like to gravitate around very simplistic definitions because it's something we can talk about, like eventual consistency versus strong consistency. Something like S3, going from eventual consistency to strong consistency, meant that when you called S3 to read a piece of data, you would always get the most up-to-date version. But that definition of consistency doesn't necessarily capture what the consistency might be if the client were doing its own kind of caching, which is also not totally applicable in the database case. But because of the surface area of our product, we have to include all of those things. And so our product is strongly consistent because I think that's the easiest thing for developers to work with. If you write a piece of data to the server, the next time you read it back, you're going to see that update. But we also have things like client-side caching to enhance performance, which could delay that. And we also respect the fact that an application might not want data to go to the server immediately if it's not critical for durability reasons. And so we might not send it over until an application calls something like fsync. And so the answer to your question is yes, strong consistency is extremely important. But because of the kind of thing that we are writing, it's a little bit more complex than just saying it's strongly consistent.